Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Three Legs podcast featuring Michael Contento and myself, Paulo Nibletto. This first episode comes on location at the eChannelNEWS Central Conference in the historic Old Mill in Toronto, where it's a two-day conference, and we're really fortunate to be on the eChannelNEWS platform. Why is that, Michael? Because the eChannelNEWS platform reaches 150,000 MSPs and channel partners throughout North America. So this is a great opportunity to talk to you out there. And why did we decide to do a Three Legs podcast? What's that all about? Well, before I tell you about that, I just want to let you know that Michael and I have a combined, 50 years of
50 plus?
50 plus years.
Maybe we shouldn't share too much. It makes us feel old.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Different perspectives here because, he was a long time channel partner. I became a channel chief, channel advocate. So we have these two perspectives. I think it's going to mesh really well for the audience. But we're going to be talking about business, obviously. But what does it really take and we're going to explore this deeply, to build, scale, sustain the life of a business throughout these three key areas: business, finance, and personal. Yes, personal. It's very, very important. And so these are the three vital things that make any venture work. So Michael, let me pass the baton to you. Why did we decide to call this podcast Three Legs? You are the originator of that concept, by the way. But tell the audience what Three Legs is all about.
Yeah, Three Legs, Paulo, as discussed in many of our chats, life, whether you're a business owner, not a business owner, a career-driven person, not a career-driven person, like a tripod, each leg represents a leg of stability. One of the legs breaks, tripod goes down. Like a stool, the stool will go down. And business, personal, and finance represent a very big portion of all of our lives, whether we're an owner or not. So to give you a quick analogy, if me as an entrepreneur, a business owner, if my business is doing great and I have an amazing personal life, a strong marriage, but those two legs, we never really understood finance and never saved a dollar, don't have savings, have no knowledge at all what finance really means, we have a weak stool. And the same goes for it is if I have a great financial leg, I have a great business, but my personal life is in disarray, same thing. So no matter which leg, Paulo, I think it's extremely important for someone to be grounded and for someone to think of I use the term exit strategy, not in the sense of exiting anything, but understanding a plan for later. Mm-hmm. All three legs need to be solid.
It's got to be solid. And this is what you're going to get here on the Three Legs podcast: an open, unfiltered, unbiased conversation, not theory, but real practice, real life on those three areas: personal, business, finance. So let's get into our backgrounds. Let's start with you, Michael. Tell me about your background.
Sure. I'm an entrepreneur. I started fairly young. I was 19 years old. I started my first, I would say, successful business called My Blue Umbrella, an MSP. We grew it to over $10 million, 30 plus people, which after 25 years was acquired by a platform company. Mm-hmm. And I stayed on as one of the leaders, executive leaders for the platform company. We grew that over $100 million and we sold. But throughout my journey, Paulo, I was also a radical entrepreneur. I started my own brand of pharmacies. I'm into the franchises. We still own a bunch of franchises and full service restaurants. We started our own REIT. And all of this, in all honesty, is not about being an entrepreneur. It's about, it taught me so much about the three legs of the stools. And, I might have had a great business leg, but being divorced once, you know what I mean, married on the second time,
Right.
Having children with two different wives, and you know, understanding my spending habits on another leg. I would say my last 30 years of journey, it was less about being an entrepreneur and more about trying to figure out how to balance these three legs.
That's right, because the personal side is important, like we've been saying. And we're going to get into a lot of personal details, believe me. So do you want to know about,
Yes.
about me?
I know a lot about you, but
That's right. Okay, so I'm a journalist by trade. I went to journalism school, and I went into IT because it was a growing marketplace, and that's where the jobs sort of took me. And in there, I learned about the channel.
Yes.
And one of my goals was always to be a business type of reporter, and channel is about business. It's IT business. And so that's what I really loved about marrying my passion for telling stories and business. And that's where I met Michael from My Blue Umbrella. I had something called the Top 100 list, and Michael was always featured on that list, always growing. And then, I got stale. Was successful, and I needed a 180 degree turn in my career. And I decided to sort of drink the Kool-Aid and become a channel chief. I wrote about channel. I wrote about a lot of channel chiefs. And so Jolera came by, and they were just building their channel, and it was a great opportunity because I was a channel advocate and loved that company, and it was a great opportunity. And actually, that was one of my proudest moments was signing My Blue Umbrella.
That's
For
right.
Jolera as well. Thank you for that, Michael. And now, the circle continues with me, and I've left Jolera and I've joined eChannelNEWS to become their editor. I always wanted to get back into journalism, so this is where I am right now, and hopefully you keep reading eChannelNEWS.com, please. So that's a little bit about me. So, Michael, let's get into some of the early stage challenges that are facing this community out there. So together, we're going to challenge the status quo in a lot of business areas. But when we're talking about mergers and acquisitions, there's a lot of news about channel consolidation and insights that we're going to share with you that Michael's going to bring to the table. But this doesn't have to be a one-sided conversation. We need you as well. So please comment, send your questions, your feedback, and subscribe, of course. And we're hopefully going to tell you what's happening. We're going to dive into the numbers and the personality along with this as well. So let's start off the top with, that's the intro, by the way. So Michael, anything you want to get started with? I wanted to talk about the quality of revenue as a first topic. What do you, when you hear that, what comes to mind?
Paulo, recently I just did a presentation, and something I like talking about a lot. We hear of the line, "Devil's in the details," and there's a lot of analogies out there. Not a lot of analogies out there that we know we grew up with. In a business, devil's in the details. I expand it a bit more, and I talk about devil being in the EBITDA. And the reason why I say that, because we always talk about revenue and EBITDA, and truth of the matter is, if someone's making EBITDA, they automatically think they're running a good business.
Yeah, I would say that's the case. And if you look back at the history of channel consolidation, which is roughly like 15 years now, EBITDA was the king. If you had that, and if you got your business set for that, then things were great, right? But it's changed, right?
Not anymore. Not anymore, because EBITDA, the devil is in the EBITDA, because if the EBITDA is not transferable, if the EBITDA isn't tied to a successful engine, now is not as valued anymore. And understanding the mechanisms and the mechanics of how that actually happens is a lot more detailed than thinking, oh, I have recurring revenue, I can sell it.
Yeah.
It's not just about recurring revenue. It's the type of revenue. It's the type of transferability. It's the owner dependency. It's something that I talk a lot about called the 4 C's, the human capital element, the customer capital element, your structural capital, and above all, your social capital, your culture, your core values. If these 4 C's are not truly an engine and truly transferable, Paulo, it doesn't matter what revenue you have. It doesn't even matter what EBITDA you have anymore. Buyers want to know they can buy an engine to scale. They're not looking to buy something that's going to fall apart once they buy it.
Let me get a little bit granular of what you said there. Would you say that, if a channel business had a CISO, an experienced CISO, and maybe a CIO, maybe a virtual CIO, would that help in that regard? Or is that part of that human capital that you're talking about?
So yeah, human capital, it would help in a way, but it's not having just the personnel, it's not having the human capital alone, is that how are we structuring the human capital to make it an engine? So one of my flaws in one of my main company, My Blue Umbrella, the IT company, I say this a lot. I built an incredible culture. I had an incredible team. 25 years later, I was making money. But the fact is, Paulo, it's getting personal. 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with this extremely rare heart condition.
I remember.
Okay? And what we realized is that if Michael passed the buck, there was no company anymore.
Yeah.
The company dissolved. So it made EBITDA, it had recurring revenue, but my human capital was extremely owner dependent.
Yeah. Do you remember the RAM Group?
Yes.
So the RAM Group, Michael Schweitzer, maybe the biggest personality that the channel's ever created. Workaholic, great guy. I really loved him. And he created what was it, a $250, $300 million
big
business?
company.
Huge company. He had a heart attack sending an email. And what happened to the company after that? I think may have lasted less than a year.
Yeah, got dissolved.
Yeah.
Everyone's scattered.
It's a shame.
Yeah, and that's where it comes back to the type of quality.
Yeah.
I would say today it's less about your revenue and less about your EBITDA and more about your maturity, your OML, your 4 C's, your transferability. If there's anything we can tell the channel is we're not saying to stop growth, but don't look at growth anymore and talk about scalability.
Right.
Could the company be scalable?
Right.
Could the company be sellable? Focus on that and the growth will come automatically.
Right.
Automatically will come.
I want to tell the audience that, we call this podcast 3 Legs. We're only 2 people, but we're going to be bringing in guest after guest after guest to get into this more of a deeper dive on what Michael was saying. But Michael, let me ask you something because I think there's a move afoot out there. You tell me if you see this as well. In terms of the consolidation of MSPs, let's say, like My Blue Umbrella, I mean, you're a little bit bigger than a $10 million player, but let's say $10 million or less player in revenue, sort of like looking for a larger company to increase the market size and then, bring that clout via merger. Do you see a move afoot with that still?
100%. Listen, Paulo, I'll give you examples where, today, there's companies that are $18 million that will sell for less than half of what a $6 million company will sell for.
Yeah. And you made that point this morning.
That's right. And so it's not, I'm sure in many other cases, depends which leg we're talking about, size plays a role on other legs. But in an organization, in a company, and selling your company, size actually doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter, right? Is it transferable?
Yeah.
Is it an engine? is the maturity of the organization ready to be purchased. That's going to maximize your multiple. And like you said, this is the introduction to the three legs.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, Paulo, the three legs isn't just going to be about business. It's about personal. It's about our finance. It's about our business. And truth of the matter is, one of my biggest challenges was my personal leg was disarrayed.
Yeah.
I had a beautiful daughter, 16 months old, and when I got divorced, I became a single full-time dad. My daughter stayed with me full-time. And so you can imagine, while trying to grow a business and trying to build my financial backbone, I became a single full-time dad.
That's right.
And now I had
priorities shift, right?
Shifted right away, right? And I felt horrible at times, Paulo, that here I am, this dad building a business. I had to put my daughter in before school and after school programs because I needed to build a company. I needed the money to survive. I needed the time, right? Yeah. So I think what I love about the three legs, Paolo, and as we continue it, our conversations will pivot back to back. But what's important is that these three legs all play a crucial role to the success of your pod.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice.
I want to bring up something that you've been talking about for years in terms of a difference, because I find this fascinating. What's the difference between a revenue MSP and a platform MSP?
Oh, that's a great one. So a revenue MSP is what My Blue Umbrella was. We were growing year over year. We had a good growth rate. Our CAGR was 10 to 15% year over year. So a revenue MSP is a typical business just growing. It's maturing in revenue. A platform is a scalable company. It's an engine. It's not dependent on anyone. Yeah. You're going to keep on bolting on. You're going to have not only just organic growth, you're going to have mergers and acquisition growth. And a healthy platform doesn't grow one or the other more or less. A good, healthy platform grows 50-50, meaning 50% of our revenue growth is going to be organically, an organic engine, our sales team, our hunters, our farmers, and the other 50% is going to grow through acquisitions. We're going to keep on buying and bolting on, buying and bolting on. So not everyone can become a platform. It's very hard to become a platform. To become a platform, you need to prove the maturity out of the gate. Right. You need to have a strong OML to become a platform. Very, very little companies, especially in Canada, can become a platform. Right.
But it's doable.
Very doable.
You said it's hard.
Very doable.
But doable, right?
Very doable.
So this is key, right? Because we're going to be bringing you some of these insights.
Yeah.
To become a platform, right? Yeah. Because you have that experience you did with My Blue Umbrella, right? All right. Last question on the private equity front.
Yeah.
Right. What kind of percentage out there do you see are actually interested in buying MSPs?
Right now, the market's still hot. I'm not sure how hot it's going to be for how much longer it's going to be. But today, there's a lot of money out there. There's more buyers than sellers. Mm-hmm. And what I like saying is not that we don't have enough sellers. I think most of our sellers are just intimidated. They don't know where to start. There's probably a lot of sellers. They just don't want to say I'm ready to sell because they don't know how to sell.
Right.
So the appetite, the percentage is quite high today. Mm-hmm. I think it will start dipping. And what I mean by dipping, there's always going to be buyers, but I think the highest multiple is going to start coming down in the next 18 to 24 months.
Oh, that's interesting.
So you're still going to be able to sell in 24 months, but to get premium dollar, I think it's going to start going down in about 18 to 24 months.
But we'll be able to bring some insights.
100%.
Okay. All right. Great. Well, that's a little tidbit of what we're planning to do.
Exciting.
It's very, very exciting. From the channel partner, Mike Contento, and from me, the channel chief, Paulo Nibletto, we hope you enjoyed this first episode of The Three Legs. And please, again, comment, give us your questions, give us your feedback, and subscribe. To close off, Michael, one operator, one outsider, one truth. If one leg breaks, everything goes, right?
You couldn't have said it better. 3 legs of a stool. We're super excited.
Right. That's our tagline. Okay. So hopefully you enjoyed this first episode, this inaugural episode. We'll be back for more. Until next time, so long.